Follow along with me as we paint a wildflower garden bouquet in watercolor. I'm painting in real time for this watercolor tutorial. I've heard several times that you really appreciate when I do my videos in real time. I'm using a filbert brush for this first flower. It's a 1/4 inch, made by Princeton. All of the paint that I use today is from Daniel Smith. Here I'm painting a 5-petaled flower, and in the center I'm just adding a little bit more paint, a little bit more pigment so it gets a little darker on the inside, and allowing it to be a little bit lighter towards the outside of the flower. More pigment just means that I'm using more paint and less water. The outside of the petal has more water and less paint. Here I added a little bit of a fuchsia color to the center of these flowers. Still using that filbert brush. You could also use a round brush. A filbert brush is nothing special that you have to use, but what I do like about it is that it allows me to create these little cup-shaped leaves and little petals here for the pink flowers. I do like to have a variety of brushes available to me, but you can seriously just do all of this with one round brush in a size 6 or 8. And when you're ready to advance and try something else, I do like this filbert brush for these kinds of flowers. Here I'm using that same brush, and I'm going to be creating a peony. Making some bigger petals in the foreground, and then a little oval space for the center that's just going to be left empty. And then again, a small row of petals on the back side. Here I'm doing the front, leaving that little space in the center, and adding a little bit in the background. Now I'm coming in with a smaller paintbrush. This is considered a round paintbrush, size 4 by Grabby. This brush came in a set, and I will link it here in the TikTok shop if you're interested in it. This is a great set to get you started if you don't own any paintbrushes yet. I'm just using a darker color of the peachy pink color to highlight some of that peony, and then I'm using that same exact color on these little pink flowers to create a little extra depth. Using that same paintbrush, I'm adding a little bit of yellow into the center of the peonies. I also decided I would add a little yellow into the center of the 5-petaled flowers. That same brush is now going to be used for making some little leaves and some stems for these little flowers. All I'm doing is connecting the little petals that I had made previously with a small little stem. Here I sped up the video because it was a little monotonous. Going back to my filbert brush, you can see that I decided I did need a 3rd peony. So here I created the foreground, left that center open for the yellow to be added in, and then put a little flowers on the back side. Adding that little highlight of the depth of color, and then I will follow up with some yellow in the center. Again, it's leaf and stem time. When I do leaves and stems, I really like to do 3 different things. I like 3 colors, and I like 3 styles of leaves. I feel like using 3 different colors and 3 different styles of leaves really adds a lot of interest to your painting. They can be thicker and thinner. Here I'm making kind of like a fern's shape. When I was first starting out, I really struggled with where to put leaves. What I can tell you is less is more. And I would argue that I probably added too many and didn't listen to my own advice. So as you are painting, take your time and really decide if another leaf is really going to be helpful. Imagine what that will look like when it's painted. Is that going to be a really good addition? Here I'm painting my 2nd style of leaf, and I'm making it in a little lighter color, more of a yellow-green. This is more of a traditional shape leaf, and you can just tuck these in anywhere you would like to. When I'm working on my composition, I always take a look to see what is the darkest color, the boldest color, and in this case it would be this purple blue. What I like to do then is make sure that I add a little bit more of that on the outside edges so that your eye gets drawn outward. If you only leave that dark color in one spot, then your eye sometimes gets stuck and it doesn't follow through the rest of the painting. So I always like to add a little extra of the color in other areas of the painting. Here I'm just adding another darker color on top. It's kind of like a wash. It adds a little extra dimension and value to it. My third green is more of a gray green, and I'm using a Princeton dagger brush, size 1/4 inch. Here you can see I'm just making these long lines. I decided to cut this painting down and make it into a greeting card for somebody lucky.